What up, dude?
Yes. What's happening, mate?
Hey, chilling, man. Just grabbing some books. Just got done with the jog. How are you?
I saw your Insta story. I saw that you were jogging, mate.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Oh, yeah. Um, so, how is it
So,
over in America?
everything's good here. It's interesting, you know? It's a lot of people staying indoors right now, brother. It's pretty interesting. It's kind of cool, though.
What are you doing running?
Well, I get a little stir crazy, and anything that you can do to release endorphins and stuff, helps with any type of anxiety or depression or anything like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that I keep social distancing pretty hardcore since, it is important to like keep everyone like safe that is more susceptible to getting sick, you
Yeah.
know? So if you're out there on the street right now, I had like three dog walkers like come by and be like, "Hey man, social distancing," as I'm like jogging, but I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, but you're out here too. So it's just a
It's
funny thing. I don't think that you should. I believe in keeping people safe. Don't put other people's needs ab don't put your needs above other people's necessarily to where it could hurt them. But I think there's a lot of truth to what Simon Sinek said about getting in front of the line and grabbing the bagel. If you've ever heard Simon Sinek talk about leadership,
Hmm.
he said, "Don't wait in the line. Go grab the bagel." And the thing is that I don't get to choose which bagel I want, but I just wanted to get a bagel and get out of there. And it was breaking some rules, but a lot of successful high achievers do break rules. They don't break
Yeah.
the law. Some do. But there's always going to be someone traveling at a speed, and it's up to you if you want to go that speed or not. But it's also really important not to hurt people or run people over. So
Yeah.
for me, I'll jog as long as I keep a distance from people. And the gyms and everything are closed, but I'm also not going to grocery stores and stuff without a mask, if you watch my Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not sick. Or at least I don't feel like
Yeah.
it. I could carry it. But,
Well, that's the thing. They just announced yesterday. It was live with the Prime Minister that they closed all the gyms. So that's predominantly one of the things where I'm like, oh, now I need to find some home gym equipment. So I'm like, ah. But thanks for taking the time to come on, mate. What I thought we would do, I briefly said before, is try and keep it light-hearted at a time like this. So you're an amazing actor. We caught up in LA. I thought I'd tell people a little bit about you first and what you've done. And then you can talk about your career and about what you've done and all the amazing things. And then we can get into wellness and mental health. How's that? Does that
sounds great, brother. Sounds great.
All right. So for anybody that's just checking in, guys, this is Michael. Michael, I can't even talk this morning, mate.
No, Michael works. Hi, I'm Michael.
All right. So Michael Patrick Lane. So as you can hear from his accent, he was born in Texas. First acting gig was at 9, mate. That is young to get in a musical. So you like musicals? Are you a good singer?
I am decent. Yeah. I used to be much better, I think, before my voice changed. And then you know what, I was still pretty good.
Yeah.
But you know how it is, man. Singing, those guys who do Broadway and are professional singers, it is such an incredible art form, and I just don't think that I could keep up with it. But I still love it. I still sing to this day in the shower, in my room, in the car, sometimes while jogging. It's very odd, but it fills
That's
me.
why they're saying social distancing. It's not because of you might have some, it's because of voice, mate. Move.
Is he singing on the road during the corona pandemic? What is he doing?
Man. All right, so anyone that's listening, again, sorry, we got sidetracked there. First acting gig at 9 in the musical, performed with Barry Manilow, of all people. Bloody hell, mate, at that age as well. You landed scholarships for various acting schools across the US. You trained with the master Meisner teacher, Kathryn Gately, and then Anthony Abeson at the Barrow Group in New York City. Now you mentor actors as well as your continued success in movies and TV, including Tully, Nashville, The Resident, Blacklist. I saw Blacklist on there, mate, and that's my wife's favorite show.
That was my favorite show too, and that was my first TV booking. was the Blacklist. Yeah, and I'm still friends with that director to this day. In fact, my fiance literally just worked with that director, shooting a TV show that she's in.
Incredible. So take us back for anyone who might be looking at the entertainment industry. What I always say is I take my hat off to anyone in the entertainment industry because it's a hard slog. You need a supportive group, especially for your mental health and well-being. I think what I've realized through this is there's a lot of people who obviously look at celebrities or people in the public eye and go, oh, you've got the life, but don't realize that socials mirror their job just as if you was in a corporation. Primarily, you're going to post things about what you do as a job. So you're in entertainment, you have to post that. But at the same, when you're not working, people need to realize that you're going from gig to gig without pay. And like, so how have you managed to combine the two and keep us? You're pretty level-headed, mate. Like the day that we caught up, like we went to the gym first of all, except you ended up going jogging and doing cardio.
Can we clarify? We went to a gym that I couldn't get in unless I wanted to pay like $35 or $40 to like get in for an hour, and I wasn't willing to like lie, and I just was like, oh man, I can't justify $40 for an hour. So I'm like, yo, would you meet me after the gym session? I'll just walk around, I'll jog, I'll get a little workout in. So that was so funny. But yeah, that was our first meeting.
The best thing was, so this is how done, like, had a laugh. So I got all my camera equipment ready to shoot for the day, and then we went for that food, and I was like, dude, we need to find a camera. Because my camera's not charged.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. And then realized that I got a bloody Australian adapter. So we actually
the poor people in the coffee shop were like, oh, what is that, man? It's got weird tongs.
So we still need to shoot your image when this thing's finally over, mate. But yeah. So tell us about acting and getting into it. Like 9, what did you always have it in you that you wanted to be an actor, or what first got you towards that sort of scene?
Yeah, I loved being goofy as a kid, and acting was a place for me to do that growing up. And then I loved singing, and my mom was a dancer, so she was so encouraging and was like, hey, you know what, you can do this. And so my parents put me in everything because I was a handful. It was way too much energy. So they put me in swimming, they put me in soccer, they put me in acting, they put me in whatever he wants to do to get him out of the house.
Social distancing again.
Social distancing. I think maybe this thing happened because of no. But yeah, dude, that's how I got started. And when I was 12 years old, I saw Ragtime on Broadway with Brian Stokes Mitchell and Audra McDonald, who both won the Tony Award, and I absolutely loved it. I was crying in the end of the first act, and I was just blown away, and I just knew at 12 years old that, like, man, I need to figure out how to do this because I was so moved emotionally by all of it and so empathetic towards those characters. I felt their pain, and it was just, I think I need to do this. And my parents waited after another Broadway show called Scarlet Pimpernel for a guy named Douglas Sills, who sang my favorite song from that musical, and we waited for him for like an hour and a half. And then my parents said he talked with me as a 12-year-old kid for like 20 minutes and just talked with me. And I remember it, but it was just like, man, I was like, I really want to do it. And I had a lot of encouraging people along the way, so it helped.
So when you knew you wanted to do it, what is kind of the process where you go? You're getting, I mean, I'm not in the entertainment industry. What, you find yourself an agent straight away, or acting classes? What primarily did you do to get started?
Well, shoot, you know what? That would have been great if I could have moved to a major market and gotten an agent.
In Texas, is it a lot smaller towards that industry?
Yeah, but it's still doable on like a major professional level in Texas. You can definitely do it and get access to a whole bunch of Hollywood shows that shoot in the South. But we didn't know that at the time. So when I grew up, that stuff existed, but we just weren't aware of it. And my parents, a lot of what you do as a kid is based on your parents' comfort zone. So we were able to do a lot of stuff locally and travel and do great, really cool theater abroad. But when it came to Hollywood, New York, a 2-week vacation where you learn acting stuff is one thing. Uprooting your family is something completely different.
Yeah.
Now, as a kid, it's much, I hate this, so parents are going to hate me saying this. Oh, yeah, how about this? The probability of making a career at this, or at least having the opportunity to make a career as a child actor, is so much higher and more forgiving than trying to do it when you're in your 20s. Yeah. It is such a higher probability that someone will take you under their wing and say, he's really good, and then get you on stuff. It's just, so I didn't get that experience. For me, it was doing local theater, and we're talking hundreds of shows, dude, like probably 150 shows because I loved it, but in a small baby capacity. And then in my 20s, going after it for real, which meant dropping out of normal college and getting rid of the secure job and selling my really cool Honda S2000 convertible with an aero turbine exhaust system and ACT Stage 2 racing clutch, and there's a Total Racing flywheel from Japan, and it was so nice, and I miss it. But it took sacrifices, so that's what we did. Wow. And that was for me. Yeah. But there's so many ways for you actors to get in there. Just start doing stuff, start creating whatever content you can, and then yes, go find whatever agent that will take you on. But the main thing is you need to build a skill set that's so freaking good that you offer tremendous value, or else what's the point? And then when it comes to acting, get really good because it's so competitive, and get really, whatever your archetype is. If you're really like good looking, then you better get really good looking and be a great actor. If you're quirky, then play into that, But make it easy for yourself to be marketable, and you can really move mountains.
And do you, as an actor, and the way you learn, do you immerse yourself in the sort of circles that you hang around with? So if someone's creating, you take a little bit of what they do and kind of learn from each person that you meet?
Yeah. For me, I never know enough. I know what I know, and I will operate within that knowledge at 100%. But I'm always looking for opportunities to grow and other opinions as well. I think the main thing about acting, or anything, is you take the knowledge, and it's theoretical knowledge, but then you have to apply it. And then you need to apply it consistently for long enough to yield results, good or bad. And then really see, well, do I want to keep these results? Is this a new cornerstone that I can build from? And I think that's what a lot of people miss. They'll take a lot of information from this, but then they won't apply it within their own life long enough to see what kind of results it yields. And here's the thing that they're really missing, is that when you start to go on any path, because the trick is do something. If you can do something that someone has done before you in a successful way that has procured the type of success that you're looking for, and you follow them, it doesn't take brain power because you're doing it. Just like our workout routines that we find on bodybuilding.com or wherever. You follow that routine, and it takes the guesswork out, so all of your energy goes towards doing the thing. Yeah. And then what will happen is, as you progress in knowledge and then skill, whatever it is for you, acting or anything, then your creativity will spark based on just momentum. And then you'll start to play with new things. But sometimes it's better to emulate just so you can get frickin' started and get out of whatever rut you're in.
Yeah. I always say you've got to adapt that mindset, haven't you? Like, there's so many talkers and not many doers. Like, it doesn't always have to equate to monetary gains. Like, there are some people who will be like, oh, we're doing this project. And then other people will be like, well, what's the budget and what's the thing?
Yeah.
But there might not be a budget. So they'll be like, oh, no, it's not for me. But if you're not working and you have a passion, get involved, get doing it, I always say. Like, because you're always going to build that skill set. Like you're saying, it's just being creative, I think, at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yes, in a lot of ways. And then what you see later on is also when you get clearer on what you want to create, and as your skills develop through doing anything that you do, then the next level is time allocation, because you only have so much time. So like I'm working with I mean, I'm literally writing 2 television shows right now, one with a partner, one on my own, and I have a production studio that is fronting me for the one TV show. And then I've got a WGA writer in New York who sells a couple movies a year, is my partner in the other one. And so within the studio that I'm working with, I'm also trying to say yes to offer my talent as an actor whenever I can. And I'm getting to meet all these great people who have, like, I just worked on something that has $5 million budget just to shoot a promo, and we're looking for another 10 to 15 million. And I'm in a position and a skill set level to where I offer value as an actor, and I can say, yeah, let me help you out. And then they pay me a little bit, but it's mostly so I can help. And then I got a lot of other people who say, oh my gosh, you're really good at acting. It's like, well, can you do this? And can you do this? And I want to empower as many people as possible and say yes all the time. But the problem is I have to write this TV show because that will offer more value to that entire group if it's successful than me saying yes as an actor all the time. And if I say yes too much to being creative, what I'm saying no to is what I really want to do, which will offer more value. So it's a balance of like, dude, I really like you and I want to help you out. But sometimes I also have to say, but I can't right now because I'm producing a movie and writing 2 television shows. And if we get this TV show off the ground, it's going to employ everybody for a long time. And I can help a lot of people. And that's more meaningful to me. Hi, how you doing, Atune?
So,
I can start saying hi to people.
yeah, if anyone's got a question, then let me know. I'll ask you, Michael. How long have you been writing for as well? So you obviously started acting. When did you know you had a skill for writing?
Okay, so I had no skill as a writer. None. It was horrible. Dude, so bad. But I got this idea in my head like 5 years ago, and I was so bad at it. I was like, no, I can't do this. Let me just keep getting better as an actor. But then as the TV jobs rolled along a couple years ago and we're coming to a little bit petering off, and I was going to transition into movies, is what happened next. I started reading books. So I read like 5 screenwriting books that started off with Save the Cat, of course, and then transitioned to another and another. And then I tried to write a script again, and I couldn't do it. I was so bad at it. And then I read another 5 books, and I tried to write again. And this was a year process. And then when I was shooting one of the 4 movies I got to shoot this year, I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to take action consistently and figure this out even if I suck at it. And I'm going to ask for help because I have people who would help me, and I'm so stubborn. So I wrote like, I don't know, 15 or 25, who knows, something between 15 and 25 pages of just straight characters and ideas, and I knew what I wanted to write for the first television show, but I had, even with all those books I read, I was scared to death of structure because naturally I am a creative. I'm a lot less level-headed than what people give me credit for, but that has been a learned skill, to learn how to be good with finance, to learn how to be, you know, how to see something and then not just say, oh, I'm going to create this, but to actually figure out the steps necessary to procure the skills necessary and the people necessary to bring an idea into a profitable thing. That's something that everyone can learn, even the most creative, scatterbrained, disorganized people in the world, because I did. It took me about 7 years. But then what happened is I started to really feel comfortable writing. And then when I started working with my WGA writer, because I couldn't do it on my own, over the last like 3 months that we've been working on it, I understand it more. And I've been taking writing classes as well as acting my rear end off. And what that meant was I was sleeping 5 to 6 hours a night. But then all of a sudden, my work plus the 10 books that I had read, plus the acting classes, plus actually writing, plus the screenwriting classes, all of a sudden started to make a little more sense. And then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I think I'm starting to get it. And then I got the opportunity to pitch my first TV show to Gas Money Pictures, because they were so cool. We met at the Producers Guild for the Oscars, and they were so nice, and we just got along. And I just was like, man, I can really offer value. And I love being an actor, but I think I also can offer value as, you know, a writer and a producer and a showrunner and a creator. because I'm a really honorable dude who cares about human beings. And on top of that, I've learned the skills of being disciplined and honest with money and everything else. And I want to help people. So let me learn this skill and offer more value in this marketplace, as well as continue to sharpen my axe and get better at acting. But it is a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes, but it also creatively fills me more so than reading for college frat Jack, who's the lead in the next horror film, which is awesome, and I would love the role, and I would love to work with Blumhouse, for that. That'd be great. But it's also, I also am someone who would like to create power to help other people.
Yeah.
Not to create power for power's sake from an ego standpoint, but to create power so that I am not completely dependent on someone trusting me and giving me a role. That's powerful. To be able to give more opportunities to the people I love, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of skill acquisition necessary, and a lot of people who lie in this industry who say they are what they aren't, and I knew that I never wanted to be that. So my whole thing was be the strongest, smartest mother effer in the room, or at least the strongest I can be, and then I will find other smart, amazing people to team up with, and I'll be able to cut through the noise of the people who have used smart people for their own benefit and taken all the glory, because that sucks.
Yeah. It's and even when I met you, it was like, I treat everybody as equal anyway.
You do.
And that's purely from a gym background. Like, I don't care whether someone's a famous actor or CEO, whatever, but that's what I felt with you. There was no kind of disparity and such a sincere. So when you tell me that story of saying you felt you could offer value and do something for humans, that's just amazing to me to listen to that. And I think the power of the voice and the platform that you've got to be able to do that a lot more. But I will ask you how, through all that, also learning to write and all that, it's a long process. How have you managed to, at the same time, coming back to the campaign, managed to change your perspective, or whether you felt any kind of frustration through it or mental health, emotional struggles? How have you managed to deal with that, if there's anybody going through anything like that?
Okay. Yeah, that's hard. So like after I was done shooting Dynasty, I played a alcoholic drug addict, and it was pretty intense, dude. And I struggled with alcohol pretty hard after I was shooting that, and towards the end of it, because I stopped being happy. I had just moved to Los Angeles, and I liked some of my team members, but I wasn't terribly happy. I wasn't getting as many auditions. Anyways, that was really difficult. I'll tell you what didn't work. What didn't work was going into my vices more. So at that point in my life, I was smoking cigarettes, and even though I kept working out, I was hurting myself. So that didn't help. What didn't help was drinking. Drinking made it worse. And I tried to social drink, and I tried to limit it a couple of nights, and I would go through levels of, oh, I'm really awesome and happy, and then, I'm depressed, but let me get through it. I was always getting through it, but once I let go, and it's hard, but once I started to let go of the vices, which meant somehow get rid of the drinking, however it meant, whatever necessary, like slowly start getting rid of that. That really helped. Whatever it takes, and it just helps. These things help. None of it is a problem solver. Going from smoking cigarettes to vaping, and then knowing I needed to get rid of vaping, because that's also really potentially deadly. All that stuff helps, and what it really was happening through all of that was I was trying to become someone that I was proud to look at in the mirror. So one of the first things I did was, who does Michael Patrick Lane want to be, and what does that look like? And they talk about it in books like Psycho-Cybernetics or The Secret or stuff like that, to where if you can envision the type of man or woman that you want to be and get excited about the type of things that person does, it's almost impossible to change your results if your self-image is screwed. So if you see yourself as a smoker, as a drinker, or anything like that, and you want to get past that, you're done. It's really hard. But if you see yourself as happy, successful, creating series, or being an actor, or being a vice president at your job, or climbing a mountain, or spending more time with your kids and like having kids, or being a husband, or living in a clean room. If you just live in a room in a house like I did at one point and you're so cluttered, sometimes just taking action, cleaning up your room or organizing your closet is enough to get started. But the thing is moving forward consistently. That's where the trick is. But the first step is do something. And if you can't give up smoking, or you can't give up drinking, or you can't become a working actor right now, don't beat yourself up about it. But what can you do at this moment that will move you forward? And your job is to do it. Do it. Whatever it is, do one thing. And then you can build on that one thing. And then you do those things consistently, and you do your best not to take steps backwards.
Yeah.
Because I did this for a long time. But then when I found like Gladys, it was easier. And even before I found Gladys, it was easier because I had something to fight for. I was like, I was going to get better at acting again and enjoy it again because I stopped enjoying it. And I was going to learn how to write. So if you have something that you're excited about, it'll help pull you out of the thing. And then through that, if you can do it long enough, you will start finding people, friends, lovers, whoever, who will help pull you in that direction. And it's a new association that you've created by getting out of your old association, which may have just been yourself alone in your room watching Netflix and eating a little too much. So do something and you'll move in a direction, but then you have to keep moving in that same direction if it's a good direction.
Yeah.
Don't veer off course.
You can always, like, so you don't fall back. You can always look how far you've come. Like I always say, when you attribute it to mental health or wellness, and it can be towards anything, and people want the quick fix and they want to go forwards. It's always baby steps. And I'm even saying, like, think of a child. So I'm a father of two, and you see a baby and they're doing little steps and then they eventually start walking. Take your mental state back to that and think, I don't have to get there today. I can do it small, but then I can look back and go, oh, actually, look how far I've come. Each day is a new thing. But in terms of the entertainment, obviously this campaign has got people in entertainment, athletes, people in corporations and stuff like that. Towards the audience that are predominantly looking in entertainment and people that are fellow actors, since you've been in it since you was 9 years old, well, I wouldn't know, and I'm not going to say you got a lot of no's, but a lot of actors have got those no's throughout their careers. How has that played a part in either, again, changing your perspective or making you stronger when you do get no? How do you look at that for somebody who may deal with a little bit of performance anxiety, and just change the perspective and look at it with a different outlook, I suppose?
I'm still figuring that one out. So like, yeah, with the nose, I don't know. You know what? I stopped caring so much about I don't know. Like, I get confused every now and then to where I think all I can tell you is my recent thought process. I had a conversation with the director for the cinematographer of the last movie I shot in Texas, Rekindling Christmas, which was the last lead in a movie that I got to do, which will be coming out next year, and was really fun. And I was talking with him today, and he said, yo, I had this really big audition for a really big movie that is going to be huge and is a franchise that is huge. And it's really good. But it went really well. And he said, hey, how did that go? You know, how did that callback go? And I was like, you know what? It went really well. And I feel like every single one of my auditions recently have gone really well. And I feel really good about it, but I haven't heard anything yet, dude. You know, I've had a couple callbacks. I don't feel like I'm getting quite as many auditions as I would like, but I'm really happy because I feel like I'm doing really great work. Like every single time, I feel like I'm giving it something really special, and I'm having fun again. And for a little bit, I wasn't. I stopped having fun, and for me, it was okay. Well, where am I not being creatively fulfilled? I'm not being creatively fulfilled as much in auditions because it's caused so much pain. And I've had to deal with that pain through not avoidance, but I partially dove into the writing and the producing so hard and then got excited about it because acting was causing so much pain.
Mm.
So I started working on those skills 2 years ago, but then to actually commit to it, to where like, I'm writing 3 hours a day without excuse at this point. Now that's a newer thing. It was like 30 minutes to an hour a day, but now it is 3 hours a day, no excuse. Plus I'm producing every single day with some partners, and it's every day. So it's like, all right, that fills my tank and makes me happy. So even if I get a no, I'm like, you know what? No worries. I had a lot of fun doing and creating that character. I dropped my writing and put it to the side for a second and gave this everything I had. And instead, maybe I wrote an hour that day. I never will miss a day. It's like the gym. You never miss a day. But I gave everything I had to that and I had fun. So like that helps me now. And I know that I'm going to get back on set again because I just do. Like, it's impossible for me not to get back on set because I feel like I'm pretty good. And a lot of people in really high places tell me I'm really good and that I offer value as an actor. So I know that it will come around again, but this has been such a blessing is the way that I look at it, because it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So what's happening for me? I got to develop a tremendous relationship with my fiance this year, and she is working like a beast, and I get to celebrate her victories. I have a roommate who has adulthood coming out this year where they're filming an entire season. And the trailer is insane, and they've gotten so many pitch meetings, and he's my roommate. I have so much success I'm surrounded by. Yeah. I have a roommate who's got approved for $25 million startup to build a neighborhood. And then she's got another 25 million followed by another 50 lined up if this works out. So I'm surrounded by, and I'm working at a studio to write my first TV show, to where like I'm helping out people who have $5 million to shoot a trailer, and I'm helping out people with a proper sound stage, with like sound stages, and I have my own desk. So it's like, I found reasons to say hi, but none of that existed, dude. Like 2 months ago, none of that existed. It was me scrounging, not having the kind of auditions I thought I would get from agents and managers, and I found one movie by driving Uber, which took a lot of humility. And I met a producer, an amazing director, and now an amazing friend who was shooting a movie with Andy Garcia and Gary Jordan and Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters and Rob Knepper. And I just happened to drive him and this famous French actor in an Uber car. And because my reel is so good, and because I had 13 years of acting, even though I was an Uber driver, really depressed, struggling with alcohol at that time, still a good dude and knew what I wanted and had the great reel and the great skill set to offer value, to where he was willing to take a look, and then he was like, yo, come out to a barbecue. And instead of being drunk at that time, which I probably wouldn't have been at that time because I was cleaning it up pretty hard, but instead of saying, no, I don't want to go to a barbecue, I was like, all right, cool, I'll be there. And then that got me a movie in Morocco with Andy Garcia. And then we kicked butt. I was a Navy SEAL. It was so cool. And then the next movie happened because of old relationships, because people believed in me. And then the next movie happened was a lead because people were like, you're a really great actor, and it paid great. And then the next movie was like a lead because I had somebody believe in me, and there was like an overnight audition. But because I kept moving forward and not stepping backwards into, I'm on Christmas vacation, literally for the last movie I booked. And instead of drinking with my friends and the people I loved, I was like, you know what? I'm just like not even going to have one. And I cleaned up my act in such a great way. And this audition came in that was like last minute for a lead in a movie. And because it's the holidays, it's, there is so much room for growth during hard times. There are so many people who are going to succeed during Corona because they're going to take advantage of the people who aren't ready. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It's amazing. But you can be one of those people by being ready now or being ready next time. So like I booked that movie through just moving forward and saying yes. So like that stuff excites me because you don't know when your opportunities are going to come again. Yeah. But if you can continue to take steps forward, it will at least fill your tank to an extent. And then when the opportunity does come, you'll be ready, and at least you'll be proud of what you did because you spent a year getting ready.
Well, Raquel said this is very inspiring, and it is, mate. You're doing
good. Thanks, Raquel.
Well, it just goes to show you, though, it really all is in your mindset, isn't it? When you was going through that time of kind of, your downward spiral with depression and drinking, what was, or can you remember, the exact point or the day when you was like, enough is enough, I need to change this?
It's hard, man, because I've had several points of that in my life where I said enough is enough and I've got to change this, and it didn't necessarily happen.
Yeah.
So I think everything, for me at least, was a gradual step. I wish that I could have had something that happened to me that was so freaking horrific it would have forced me out of it. But the truth is, with anything that we try to do in our life, we get comfortable with a state of displeasure in our jobs and our relationships and whatever. And what I had to adapt was a growth mindset, which meant listening to people like you, listening to people like Tony Robbins or Les Brown or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Tom and Lisa Bilyeu over at Impact Theory, who I try to advertise Impact Theory wherever I can. If you can develop a growth mindset, that's what saved me. And that's what's saving me in this career as well, dude, is literally being okay with one brick at a time.
Yeah.
You know? And like, yeah, and that's probably why like Alcoholics Anonymous has worked for so many people. It didn't work for me. That wasn't, I found another way, which my way was create something I want so freaking desperately. I was willing to do anything to attain it, and then create the next thing, you know, and know that I'm never going backwards again. It's just part of who I am. It's part of my self-image, is I will never freaking go backwards again on anything. It's up, it's growth, period. And that has saved my life, creating that self-image. So if you can do that for yourself, sometimes it's I'm never going backwards again and holding yourself to it. Or sometimes it's no matter what, I'm going to write 3 hours a day, period. Or go to the gym every single day. And sometimes that might mean a 30-minute walk because I'm really sick. And that coronavirus may be happening. But I'm going to put on a weight vest. I'm going to do it anyway. Because that was my rule. You know? So you do that, you can turn your life around like a beast and do anything. You can do anything.
So during this time of lockdown for you, other than getting your running in the morning, if there's any aspiring actors or if there's any people in the entertainment that are like, obviously they're not working at the moment, but trying to help them change their mindset or their perspective on things, what are the certain things you're doing at the moment that you're concentrating on to keep your mind busy, occupied, that your partner is as well because she's in the entertainment industry, and your friends around you? What are the sort of things that you guys are doing? Because you're predominantly in lockdown mode, and where probably it's imminent that it's going to happen within a day or two here in Sydney. And there's obviously people who are either in panic mode or anxious or thinking, well, what am I going to do during this time? What are some of the things that you guys are doing?
Cool. So, okay, I'll give you Gladys's first, because what she's doing is really cool. She's learning Portuguese, which she had already started on, but she was able to dedicate an hour to it today, which is awesome.
Wow.
She's always talked about wanting to learn the guitar, and she was like, you know what, I'm going to learn the guitar, and she downloaded a $10 app instead of $60 a lesson, but she's going to start doing it, like, often, and it's, like, the coolest thing in the world. So there's stuff like that. My roommate, one of them who has the TV show coming out, he's writing his first feature film. He was like, I'm just going to write it because they're trying to find something creative, and I'm trying to do it. And he's having writing meetings for the TV show that they're shooting this summer every single day. So they're making the most of it, even though he's really worried about money, you know, and he's really strapped. He's focusing on what can I do? What's my vision? Let me create a vision. What do I think I want? You know, let me play with that. My other roommate hasn't stopped working. She's hustling because she's got that $25 million deal, and she refuses to stop. You know, for me, it's like really easy because I knew what I wanted before this happened. So I'm literally doing whatever I can to develop the skills necessary to be a producer, and not just some producer who's an actor who takes a credit, but someone who really can produce a project, get it off the ground, get it funded, understand where that money goes, be honest, and pay people accordingly. And I've got 2 TV shows. So for me, it was like, work on creating this, even though the money doesn't exist right now. And it's not like I have a lot of money to sit around either. But for me, this is easy because I was going to wake up at 5:15 in the morning, 4:45 in the morning, 6 in the morning, regardless, and get to work. So there is no change for me, except I have more people calling me who are bored. And I'm like, yo, I can't talk or like, I can't talk till I'm done with this. I would love to catch up with you, and I totally will, but my life hasn't changed at all. If anything,
which is
it
good,
hasn't.
right? Yeah. I mean,
But if you can create that now, that's the thing, dude.
yeah.
And also, in finances, this is the time to get smart. Here, I brought you a couple books. If you don't know what the heck to do, get smart. Read The Millionaire Next Door. Learn how to be frugal so you can have a few $1,000s in the bank. Read Relentless by Tim Grover, who trained Michael Jordan in his offseason and Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade, and get a mindset to destroy, destruct. Read Rich Dad Poor Dad so you understand how to create different pipelines of income, but not to just sporadically go from acting, directing, writing. Oh, I'm so good. Get really good at something. Build a pipeline of income like I have for acting, and then keep acting and reallocate more time to writing or your fiance or self-growth. Do that. Or then other books. What is this? Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover. Everybody should get Dave Ramsey. It's harder for actors to read this because it's more of like employed people, but it helps. Kobe Bryant's book. Get a mindset. If you can change your mindset and pick up books, there's so much knowledge. So like do that now and don't waste this time. So please continue. What was your question?
Dude, I've totally forgot. I'm just mind blown. I think it's so impressive because I think that's the whole thing. It's changing the mindset, the power of the mind. Like I've got one thing that I always say, and I reiterate from a good friend of mine who's an actress over in LA, Jacqueline Albergoni, and she always like, don't give up because tomorrow may be the best day of your life. So even with this coronavirus or anything, we don't know what's coming tomorrow. It could possibly we find something, it's over. Let's just continue to work on ourselves. Like you say, it's not really impacted you, what you're doing on a day-to-day. But yeah, mate, I'm just inspired by you myself. And as you know, I go for hell for leather on the the mindset and everything like that. But yeah, it's been great chatting to you. I will say before you go, because I've got to send you one as well. So you'll probably know her. You know Deborah Wilson. She's Mad TV, SNL. She does the skits, comedian.
Cool.
So, loads of films. So we've been talking for the past couple of weeks. How incredible is this? She sent me a gift this morning. A campaign. So I'll send you one, mate. 600. She makes these handcrafted.
Oh, wow.
With individual messages on there. Inspire, bless. She's currently sitting at 34,600.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and she sent a note with it, which pretty much love and kindness necklaces. I make necklaces to spread love and kindness. Now I'll pass these on to you, Glenn. So wear the love, share the love, spread the kindness. That's incredible, isn't it?
That's so incredible.
So I'm going to send it through, but I'll finish off with something that she says. She is well known for being an actress and a comedian and things like that. I've got to know her as Deborah, like I got to know you as Michael. I don't see the other side because that's never the first question that I look at. It doesn't matter what you do. But to get to know somebody a little bit like yourself, she said to me, she was like, that's my job and that's what people recognize me for. But none of that stuff, as much as it matters to my passion, I tell people that's a creative outlet. This human connection is what I'm about. I just love it. And that's why she sits there and she makes all these. Like she uses her platform to help people move forward, change the mindset, positivity and spread kindness. And mate, if you're doing that through your work, amazing.
Thanks, brother.
Amazing, dude. Well, I will let you go because
should we do you want to see if anybody has questions for a sec, just for the fun of it? Do you have like 5 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, the few people that are out there that are left, does anybody have anything very specific that they selfishly want answered?
Yes.
You've got 20 seconds to come up with a question that's very selfish. Okay, 30 seconds.
So I'll introduce you actually, if she's still on. Raquel is an incredible lady that's been helping the campaign. She's in Washington, D.C. She's like a marketing guru.
Nice.
She's an awesome lady to know. Raquel,
We'll have
have
to
you got a
connect.
question for Michael? Or Michael, have you got a question for her? The pleasure. What? The pressure. LOL.
Raquel, you and I need to add each other on Instagram. I gotta research you.
She's doing some awesome work. She's helping me disrupt LinkedIn and the corporate world.
Yeah.
We're basically doing videos. We're doing videos through LinkedIn like we're doing here. And
Yeah.
she set an incredible challenge off, which was basically spreading positivity and just getting everyone in the corporate world, because you know a lot of people there hustling and it's all about work, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's just sent you a question. I'll go back to that. Can we go down? So I'll ask you, I've heard mixed messages, but if you are looking for representation right now, is it good time to reach out to agents or not? From Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it's always a good time. In the old days, like there are specific seasons, and you can Google this, right after pilot season, not right after, but close after pilot season and close after episodic season are normally the best times to reach out. But honestly, nowadays, you can kind of reach out year round, and you should probably reach out more than once. And what agencies are you looking at? Type something.
Should we go like this on the phone? Like,
ah! Oh gosh! What's happening? Oh no!
The pressure.
Yeah, but your main thing is like go ahead and reach out to agents, but you should be doing the work now. So you should have a great reel. And what that might mean is that you go to Los Angeles or New York and you find somebody who will film a reel for you. Because chances are you're not going to get great Element Avalon. Avalon's in Georgia? An Element? Did I read that right? Was it Georgia or just agents? No, it's just agents.
Georgia's her name.
Oh, Georgia's her name. Yeah. Okay, Avalon. All right. So you're a CoStar World. Cool. That's great. Yeah, anytime is a great time to reach out. Just have your materials really great, and then be in classes, LA. Cool. Be in classes or something. Go ahead.
With that in mind, mate, how do you set yourself up for success towards the American market? So I've fought for the small people, which to my detriment, sometimes through work and my aim thing. But now I've started to know a lot of people in the entertainment industry in Australia. They all are sent over with the premise of you've done 1 or 2 shows in Australia, get your O1 visa, get straight over to LA. Now, because I know a lot of people like yourself and then some directors and agents over there, a lot of Australians tend to get sent over during pilot season. With me not being in the industry, but thinking on the back burner and then asking friends over there, would it be better, in your opinion, to reach out prior or after? Because during, the agents that have got like you on their books and several other clients will predominantly be forwarding them for auditions. So they might not have as much time to concentrate on taking new people on. What is your take on that?
Start shooting emails and phone calls to people sooner than later. And if you can get someone to say, hey, you're not ready yet, it's like, hey, I know that this is one more email, but could you give me a list of things that would make a kick-ass agent, like actor, like that would make it easier for you to sell, so I at least have some direction. Maybe an agent will get back to you and be like, well, this is what you're lacking. But like whatever you can do to get the information, and however humiliated you need to be in order to procure the knowledge and then actually act on it, what you're really looking for is not an agent. What you're really looking for is a job as an actor. And what you're really looking for is to creatively fill your tank. And what you're really looking for underneath of that is to feel loved and appreciated. But in order to get that agent, you're going to need to get on set. You can kind of circumvent the agent and start getting on sets. And then if you're on the right set, an agent will want you just because they see dollar signs. So don't get caught up on, I don't have an agent. Get caught up on, how do I get in professional productions or create a professional production? And how do I be great and not just think I'm great, but I'm working consistently at being great, and then I'm able to market myself great. Screw the agent thing. They're all agents. They know what they know. but nobody is any smarter than you when it comes to certain things. You can procure their knowledge rather easily. What they have is a title. Just like me, when I'm a lead in a movie, I have a title. I'm the lead in a movie, so people treat me in a different way than when I'm not a lead in a movie. It's a title, and they have access to certain things, but so do you. Do not cut your power cord off. You are more powerful than you could possibly imagine. You hold all the power. You know? So you don't need an agent to book the right things. The first couple SAG-AFTRA movies that I booked were through Actors Access. And you know what? I kept building momentum and eventually got agents. And then you know what I did to those agents? I fired them. And then I fired the managers that I got because they didn't have the mindset that I needed. And it's still like that. And that sucks to do. I want it to work out every single time with whoever I'm with. And they'll drop you just as easily.
Yeah.
So just remember, this is your life. And the best thing I did was I stopped waiting for someone to give me permission. And then when I started acting as if I really wanted it and procuring the knowledge daily and exercising it, all of a sudden I'm working at Gas Money Pictures, writing a TV show, and I had never written one. I'm in the process of writing a live action, but I'd never written my own. But it was because I said yes. And now what I've done, and I was very honest with one of the main people, with everybody, I'm honest. But like Paul and I had to talk, and I was like, yo, man, mostly what I've been doing while I've been here is learning how to do this on my own, for real, and failing miserably. But you know what? I finally have stuff. I'll show you. I finally have stuff. I got 3 folders. I finally have stuff in this folder that's mine that I'm really freaking proud of. And that's really good. And it's not just written. It's 2 years of learning how to screenwrite and then having great ideas to where I all of a sudden understand structure. And then it's amalgamation of a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to get to show run this bad boy. So you can do that too, because I did not know how to write. I couldn't do it. I struggled. I failed at it for 2 years, but all of a sudden I thought maybe I could really do it. And you know what? I am. And I'm doing it for real. So you can do it. That's it.
Mate, that's amazing. Now, I've got to ask you from Jode, any tips for an 11-year-old to keep him learning his script when the performance may be cancelled?
That's up to your 11-year-old. Like my mom made me do things. Like she made me practice singing, even though I was really nervous and I had to fight through my anxiety to practice. I was perfectly fine getting on stage. That was fun. Knowing that you had a role is fun. There's no way you can get your 11-year-old to just do it. But if there's any way to get him learning now, that if he really wants to do something and he's passionate about it, hopefully he enjoys it to do it, you know? Otherwise, acting may not be for him because this thing is only going to get harder. So if he's not a creative type who just wants to have fun doing it, this may not be for him, you know? But also, he may have a different process and you don't realize it. You may want him to memorize lines, and what he may need to do is pretend he's that character and play outside with his friends, but start thinking about that character. What he may need to do is find YouTube videos that is a character who's kind of like this person that your 11-year-old is playing. You know, he may have a different process, so maybe try a different tactic for him, because maybe you're doing what you think that he needs, but what you don't realize is he's not being creatively fulfilled. So maybe if you can find movies that inspire him, he'll want to come back to it. Maybe if you find YouTube videos of people who he's inspired by who are kind of like that character, maybe it'd be fun to just play like that type of person, and then you can try it with the lines. Change your tactics. And as an artist, as an adult, I have to do the same thing. Otherwise, I get really depressed, and I do not want to do it. And sometimes, like weightlifting, I'll push through the pain because I know I need to get this thing memorized for an audition tomorrow, but I also don't enjoy it. So I don't know. There's value in both things, Mom. Play around.
Mate, Great advice there. I've got one last question for you. Well, unless anyone else pops up. So there's a lot of people, and I'll say, because of your pure experience over there, if you were to be an actor coming over to LA, there's quite a few of my friends that I've seen this happen to over and over again. They've come over and they pretty much are waiting on phone calls from their agents back in Australia. What advice would you, because then I've noticed that a lot of them then suddenly get more depressed or more anxious and their anxiety spirals, and then it just leads. And then a lot of them come back to Australia with their tails between their legs, and then that's a whole different ballgame with mental health. So for someone who's been in the industry for such a long time and gone through emotional struggles themselves to an extent, if you were to go, when you moved your family, I know it was different a little bit because you were young and you had the support of your family there, but if you've ever had a time where either you or your girlfriend or one of your friends close to you has had to move in order to fulfill something, but you're waiting on calls, how have you kind of maneuvered through that?
Okay, so when I went to New York City, I had to try to get an agent, and that took me like 5 years to get one that could actually get me some auditions. And then everything that I thought, like how it should be, I had to let go of. And then I had to give in to where the momentum was, which as hard as I tried and as much as I trained to do movies and television and stage, eventually I had to say yes to commercials, which I wasn't. And then when I started booking commercials, what I had to do was listen to the momentum and trust that I wanted to do movies and television and legit stuff again. But where it was happening for me was commercials. So what I did was I took a 10-week class to get really good at commercials. And then I was able to get one of the best agencies in the world, Paradigm, for commercials and voiceover. And then I started booking national commercials. And then you want to know what I did with that, $35,000 I made that year when I was doing nationals, and the $15,000 I did before was I reinvested in acting classes, I reinvested in meeting casting directors, and I made my own short film, even though I couldn't write and the writing is horrible. But I hired and paid very well a great director of photography, great sound team, and great actors who wanted to act with me. So the actors did it for free, but the DP did not. So it's like moving forward, but it was really tough and it took time. And it was about letting go of how I thought the process should be and knowing what I wanted, because so many people fall in love with the path. They forget that what they're really after is the result. You want the reward. And the path, you just need to let go of, because sometimes it's going to do weird stuff. But if you know what you want and you're working towards it, that path will lead you there, because all of a sudden, my next move came up, which meant losing a lot of things. So I left New York to go to Louisiana for a year and a half because I had two mentor figures who were willing to put me on their couch or at least train me, and I ended up renting my own place. But they said they would take me under their wing for a year and a half. Now, it took me 9 years of busting my tail end and finally starting to book like little co-stars on the Blacklist and Lifetime movies, and my first lead in an indie movie that was like $500,000 and stuff like that. But finally someone was able to take me under their wing. And it was really hard. And then it took me 6 months to get an agent, and I held out for the best agent. And then I started getting auditions immediately. But it was so hard that 6 months and so depressing because I literally lost everything to do it. And then all of a sudden, I was able to get this agent on my last dime, working in New Orleans. It was ridiculous. But then 3 months later, finally, after 10 years, I booked a 7-episode recurring guest star with 2-time Oscar-nominated director and 2-time Emmy-winning producers, Chad Michael Murray, Billy Gardell, all these great freaking guys that are still doing great stuff. Jonah Leese, who's on a Netflix show right now. These guys are great. But that was really hard, like 9 months. It was a really hard 9 years leading up to it. And then to decide to go to LA after being multiple television shows and movies, nonstop working, but realizing that I'd learned.
Whew. All right, guys, we'll see if we can get Michael back just to let him finish what he was saying.
And bam!
Can you remember what you were saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll wait for a second so some of the people can join back in, and then I'll finish that. Ba-dum-bum. Ba-ba-dum. Ba-da-ba-dum-bum-bum. Anyway, so that was like really hard. And then making the decision to move to LA wasn't so that I could book bigger roles, although I mean it was. But the main decision was I knew that I needed to keep learning. And I could have kept learning from like James Dumont or Lance Nichols, who were my two mentors, who were insanely amazing. But I knew that if I wanted to learn the most, I needed to go to LA, but I needed to go there for knowledge acquisition. So that's what I did, but it was tremendously hard. And then the auditions slowly dried up, and it gave me the opportunity to get through some of my BS that was holding me back in life in general. So every transition is hard. So for all of your friends who want to go to LA and get their O1 visa, they may not get great opportunities. They may not have time to create them. But if they're always creating it within their own life, it'll be so rewarding. If they're not going there for a result, but they are going to get the result of becoming better and knowing what they want, but they let go of the path of, I'm going to move here and it's going to work out, or maybe it won't work out. But if they go there to grow and apply that, there's no doubt that eventually it will pay off for them.
Wow.
So I think.
Words of wisdom, mate. I'm going to shoot that out everywhere. Well, we've been chatting for over an hour, mate. Which is
yeah, it was so much fun. Thank you.
Anytime. No, thank you, mate. What was I going to say? Any last words to anybody out there that's watching, and just, I don't know, you got anything to say, or are you going to finish with a little song?
Yeah. You. No. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. No, what I would finish off with is this. It's that keep following you. Follow things like impact theory. Find ways to get inspired. Here's the thing. You can learn and do almost anything if you're willing to put in the time. You can learn, become, and do almost anything if you're willing to seek the knowledge and apply it consistently. You can do it. Give it time, give it patience, but proactive patience.
Love it, mate. Love it. You are a legend, and I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for all the people that joined and all the questions. If there's any questions that come out afterwards, because I've noticed that people send questions after,
yeah,
I'll shoot them to you, mate, and answer them.
Sounds great, dude. All right, well, so good chatting with you, dude. Let me know when you're back here, and have the best day.
Well, mate, next time I'm there, I'll make sure I've got a battery that's fully charged. God.
I like it.
All right, dude. Have a good day, mate.
All right, dude. You too. Bye.